It costs thousands of pounds, but there are still mixed feelings about it.
I do oppose it. I cannot find any justification as to why it is really needed.
I believe in it strongly.
Very, very good thing.
Most people that I've actually spoke to are opposed.
It seems no one can agree.
Very much in favour of it. I think it will benefit the whole city.
Well, I oppose it. I don't see the real point of it.
I'm for it. It's got lots of problems.
In general, we think that buses would have been a cheaper and more environmentally friendly option.
So what's on people's minds?
They are busy doing demolishing.
It's a big project.
Unfortunately, we have to clear some trees as well.
They've took all my trees down.
There is a demand to do that.
The hot topic being discussed is the NAT Phase 2 of Tramline in Nottingham. Michael Anderson is the Deputy Project Director of the Extension project.
We have a 3-year project, so we started in December 2011 and we are to finish in December 2014. We have to build 2 new tram lines, so that means clearing the route and in some cases demolishing some buildings to make room for the route.
Unfortunately, Mick's music shop is one of those buildings.
Everybody calls me Mad Mick. Don't know why, and I'm now running crossplay music on Chilwell Road in Beeston. We moved across here on the 16th of January. The reason being is because all the shops and the houses across the road and some of the flats were up for demolition.
And the move caused a tragic story.
The basic move was that the old boss Mick, that's Mick Gamble, he died on the 25th of May.
Mick firmly believes the tram extension directly led to the death of his boss.
He decided that this shop was up for grabs, so he decided that he wanted to move over here somewhere local. It put a lot of stress on my boss. It must have took us 4 or 5 days just to get the stock across from one, just literally, 100 yards down the road. It was just complete toing and froing all the time, just moving stock, taking it out of the other shop, putting it in the van, moving it up to here, unloading the van, moving it in the shop, and then do the same process all again till the shop was empty. I believe on that premise that we actually had to hand the keys back in at 11 o'clock on the 16th of January. And we'd still not finished moving everything out, but basically whoever's in charge of the shop over there that wanted us out said that the keys had to be handed in to the other premise by, I think it was 11 o'clock in the morning. So we'd still not fully finished getting everything out, but we had to be out anyway. So I think that was more of a forced issue, which I don't really agree with. And all the stress and the strain of actually moving and stuff, I think that put a lot of stress on my boss, which actually gave him a heart attack, and now he's not here. So a lot of the time, yeah, you could see that he was stressed about it, but what can you do? You've got to move, and that's it.
What makes Mick angry is that the work hasn't yet started where their old shop stood.
Well, I think it's now is it the 14th of July? And they're still up, they've still not been demolished, so I can't see what the big rush was for. We could have took us time and had a really good Christmas period.
Obviously, a huge project like this requires many changes of existing infrastructure. The tram project manager Steve Tuff seldom gets time away from the building of the project.
NET Phase 2 is very much the south and the southwest. It will importantly link the M1, so it's got very good strategic links. It's got big park and ride sites at the 2 major motorway junctions for Nottingham. And of course you're going to get through routes as well. So you can go from Clifton on that Phase 2 up to Hutton on Line 1. So it's going to give you a network across the city.
However, the necessity of the project is hotly discussed in Clifton, Chilwell and Beeston, through which the tram will pass.
Graham Renton, I'm an architect. I've been living in Chilwell for 25 years. I cannot find any justification as to why it is really needed. We've got a very, very good bus service, and we've also got a very good train service.
Rather than building a new tram line, Graham believes the City Council should consider making full use of the current train service.
The train, which already is infrastructure there, they could have put in a park and ride, a new station just outside where I'm living here, and given good access to retail park, to hotel, to housing, and that would have been in the centre of Nottingham as a straight route within about 8 minutes. And they could have had free bus service to take people to that station, as a free bus service, and use the main existing link and therefore save a lot of money, particularly at this time.
Lawrence, who lives in Beeston, holds a similar point of view.
The local bus service here is excellent. The bus station in Beeston, probably there must be hundreds of buses going in and out every day. They run every 20 minutes, so a lot of people rely on them. And I don't think they would really want the tram, because the tram cannot go where buses can go. It can only stay on the track wherever the track goes, whereas buses can go in and out of housing estates, etc.
But Steve Hodgkinson concedes the tram's advantages. After working as a household repairman in Beeston for more than 30 years, he is confident that he understands the project better than anyone else.
The volume of cars stops the buses. The buses can't go quickly into town because they're held up by the cars. There is no dedicated bus lanes to take the buses into town, whereas the tram will have its own track and the cars won't stop the tram, and I believe it will be a lot better. Bus services, you don't know when a bus coming. You can stand at a stop and wait and wait and wait, but the trams do come, and the trams are regular. So if you just want to go straight to Nottingham in the quickest, shortest time, I think the tram will be better.
Steve Tuff wants the community to take a long-term view of the tram project.
The current network is good, but the key thing is to plan. Got to plan ahead. Building the tram isn't for today or tomorrow, it's for 20 years' time. It's a long-term project, and government projections are that congestion will continue to grow. Despite the economic downturn, the car use has grown massively in the last 20 years, and there is a demand to do that. So the only way that you get people out of their cars into public transport is to have the best possible transport system.
And the economic benefit is huge.
It's going to bring £300 to £400 million worth of direct expenditure into the city, which in this current time of economic difficulty is very important. It will link 20 of the 30 largest employers in the city, and it will also have tram stops close to another set of businesses to which 55,000 people commute. So it really will link to major investment areas. So in terms of the economy, so important at the moment, we do think it's got major benefits.
On this point, Steve Hodgkinson can't agree more.
The economy, the local economy, I think the tram will be a blessing. Because I think that Beeston won't settle down. Everybody's known about the tram for years. It come in and objections and which government's going to pay for it. Once the tram comes, that's it, finished. For the last 20 years, it has been in decline. There's charity shops all along the high road. Even McDonald's closed in Beeston 4 years ago. And I think when it's all completed that there will be better shops come to Beeston because people will have a day out at Beeston.
The deputy director says the project employs lots of local people, which is another benefit.
The team for Taylor Woodrow Alstom here will be about 500 people altogether at the peak during the construction phase. We have very strong targets from the City Council to maximise the number of local people. So we are working wherever we are doing work, both our own teams to have as many local people as we can, but also we ask all of our subcontractors to share the same objectives of percentage of local people. And those are divided into Nottingham City people, region people, and the wider region.
But Lawrence and Graham really don't think so.
Well, I would say that's wrong, because local authorities all over the country are cutting their staff by at least 15 to 20% because the government want to retain a balance. So all these local councils are not funded by the government. They have to fund themselves. And obviously they've got to cut their expenditure, so they're cutting staff. So there is no way they will be employing more people.
It'll employ some people, nothing like what they would probably maintain is going to be as bringing the benefit to the community, nothing like it. It's a French contractor, a French company who are going to be bringing it out, called Vinci, and any profit that's coming won't necessarily come to to this part of the world, they'll employ some people, labourers and other employees, but overall it's not going to bring that number of new employment areas as I can see.
My name's Matt Gould. I run the Beestonian magazine and the local blog Beestonia. I generally think that it's going to be a good thing.
But he also points out that the extension caused some people to lose their jobs.
We did have a very important shop here called Wilkinson's, and it was very popular, and that had to close down. So we've lost lots of jobs, we've lost a very popular shop, we've lost a destination shop as well that people travel to.
And people also question the environmental effects of the project.
Where I live, over on the other side of Chilwell, which is 2 miles away, I've got 2 local parks. They all have trees and stuff like that, and most of the trees have been taken away to actually make room for the tram. That's on both parks. And then if you come down at the side of the Broxtowe Beeston College of Further Education, they've also taken out the whole back side of it. All the trees have gone. And down University Boulevard and a few other places. Most people that I've spoke to are really not happy about that.
I'm Erin McDade, I'm the Communications Manager for Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust. Our job to promote and protect the wildlife right across Nottinghamshire. As an environmental charity, we obviously support measures to improve transport and particularly sustainable transport. But one of the problems we've had over the last decade or so in relation to the expansion of the tram system is that the tram requires quite a lot of heavy infrastructure development, which can actually have a real direct impact on the green environment. The expansion routes, particularly the Wilford and Clifton expansion, has actually, or it will be leading to the destruction of quite a lot of important wildlife habitat that in our view can't really be replaced. It's obviously, in engineering terms, seen as quite an easy option for the tram route because there's no buildings along that route and it's an old transport route. But over the period that it's been developing as a wildlife area, it's developed a wonderful interest that you can't just replicate by planting new trees on new areas. And also what we have to consider is this incremental loss of green space and wildlife habitat in the city, particularly along linear routes that provide corridors for wildlife to move across our city, is really important, and that's why we felt it was important to stand up for wildlife at the public inquiry.
However, there are also pragmatic views opposing the environmental concerns.
People have to live, and it will take cars, and it will take some cars off the road, a lot of cars. And I'm not worried about the environment, I'm just thinking day to day people need to live their lives and go to work to earn money to keep the family fed at the end of the day. And I think that is more important than the environment. If you want to go and see a tree, go to a forest. Not a problem with it. I'm sorry, but I do believe that.
There is even dissatisfaction with the city council because of the project. Quite a lot of people hold similar opinions with Graham and Mick.
There's money available from the government and other sources, and they just want to take that money and use it. And there were other possible routes they could have looked at, but they were going to be more expensive, so they just dismissed them out of hand. So I'm very negative about it. It seems to be a political game, a political statement that we're good because we've got a tram, but I don't see the real value at all of having that tram.
If the local council or the local councils, whatever, they decide that they want to buy your property, they're going to buy it. You can say you don't want it, but at the end of the day, they'll give you a date and you have to move out by that date.
But for good or bad, the tram extension is going ahead. And some experts like Matthew Ashton from Nottingham Tram University think in time, everyone will value it.
We don't always necessarily know our best interests, hence the fact we have a representative system of government rather than a delegative system where we elect, hopefully, what are wiser people than ourselves to make these decisions on our behalf, because we don't have all the information, we don't have enough time to process the information, even if we had it, to come to rational decisions. The problem is, sometimes people want things they shouldn't have, or they don't know what they want, or they lie about what they want, or they say they want something and then a week later they don't. Therefore you need government sometimes to step in and say, okay, we're doing this, it's good for the country in the long term rather than the short term. And in the case of the tram, again, I think in terms of social mobility and creating jobs through infrastructure construction, I think there are benefits to come from it that people are maybe not fully aware of. What's bad for today might be very, very good tomorrow or 10 years down the line.